institutions, for instance, what they do is they buy car. They buy frivolities that will encourage, maybe just ensure that they live extravagant lives, living the dictates or the expectations of that institutions, right? So what do? You need to purge the system. For you to purge the system, the law must permit you. Then you come. I'm going to fight corruption. President Muhammadu Buhari saw that corruption will be one of the problems, and the court will be the driver of the anti-corruption fight. What happened? He demanded for a separate court to do so. Was it given? Because he has no power to establish the anti-corruption court. He relied on the National Assembly to give him one. Till today, has it been given? The answer is no. Because those persons will not give you that court that will never to prosecute them. So what do you do in a society like that? It therefore means you must show for persons who will believe in you. People who will believe in your dream. People who will believe in the Nigerian dream. Everybody is a Nigerian, but I tell you, we have barely few persons who are patriotic Nigerians.
Let me pick up from there. When you talk about those who are going to believe in you, basically one of the mantras or the reasons that the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria gave for choosing some of the persons in his cabinet was that these are the persons that he trusts. And that is why he actually made this appointment based on that trust. So we could actually just oppose the word trust and believe.
Yeah.
So I trust you, that means
I give you the responsibility.
And so these guys that he trusted also didn't deliver as Nigerians would have expected. So would you say on that basis that he made a good choice based on those he trusted and those that he also believed in?
Another thing, another line I will draw here. You see, performance is relative. What do I say? Relative. I might have my personal expectation from a certain government. You as an individual, you have your expectation from certain government. Then it will now boil down to what actually the statutory function of that office. You know, so many attacks will make a demand that very unrealistic, not knowing that a certain office doesn't supposed to do so. But we just felt that as long as we have a government should do everything. And it's not so. So that's my expectation. I will then judge the government or that ministry or that role, that responsibility based on what I think I expect. But is it so? Is it what it's supposed to deliver? These are the questions we don't answer. Now, going back to the choice of Mr. President, he might have seen that, yes, I am trusting a Vivian for an instance, and I'm giving the Vivian this responsibility to play. It's not left for Vivian to actually fulfill that trust or act in line with that trust or go the Nigerian way where I need to make money for my family, children, unborn children, for my friends, for my community and everybody. I live above the Nigeria board. What I mean by Nigeria board, live above the poverty line, where I will live extravagant life. I see that maybe my people are impoverishing and all that. I don't care. As long as I can acquire more cars, buy more houses, and my name, I'm giving chief taxi title, I'm just okay. It's not left for you as an individual. See, Abba Keri, for an instance, was trusted. Imagine the kind of honor Nigerians were given to in the ovations. What happened? There's allegation that he turned that office to a merchandise for money making and even trying to work with set according to the allegation. I'm not saying so, right? According to the allegations that he even have relationship with those who should be pursuing. So in such a situation, do you compare the person, you tie a rope on the person, you chain the person to act according to that trust?
All right, let's quickly bring in Vincent here.
Amy, you talked about the fact that when people are elected, they are supposed to deliver on the promise.
All right, Victor, please.
Okay, so I'm going to pick up from where Vincent was basically going through. Just like he made that analogy, and then say you give a Vivian an office, and you expect that Vivian is going to deliver based on that. But before you look to Vivian and say, I'm going to give you this particular position, there are certain abilities that you've seen in Vivian. Now, would you say that perhaps you didn't see the fact that Vivian, using that analogy now, would go the Nigerian way like you mentioned? Because you know her as an individual, you know this person, you trust the person, that means you know the person. So you know the abilities, the capabilities of this individual that you want to give this appointment to. So would you not say that I've seen that if I give you this, you might take it to be like a settlement, and then instead of doing what you're supposed to do, carry out the responsibility that is going to affect Nigerians positively, you then take it as a personal settlement for yourself and your families?
The area I will blame government in is when you give somebody an appointment, there's supposed to be a kind of a follow up,
Right.
right? And this is lacking in our system. It's actually lacking. But in the area of the responsibility, a senator, a service senator from Anambra State, was given the role of aviation ministry. At a time, it was reported that the person did A, B, C. D. I don't want to mention names. Person did A, B, C, D. And when the president was confronted, which is the person who appointed her, the man doubted that no, this can be. But he found out that this is true. But initially, he had a trust in that person. The same thing happened with the former petroleum minister, that she has to spend over 2 billion naira on private jets and all that. When the president is using government cars, she's flying private jets. When the president was confronted with the same issue, the man thought that it was just a political brouhaha that some person are trying to cook up against his administration. So the evidences were so overwhelming. What does that mean? The fickleness of humans is always there. But if the humans have this national value, national orientation, and sees democracy as a way of life, like the Western world sees democracy, the person will know that I have a role, a duty, a responsibility, an obligation to ensure that my state, my country, is taken from one level of prosperity to the other. And my country will not achieve that level of facility if I don't play my role adequately. But in Nigeria, we don't have that orientation. We don't have that mental culture. We always believe in primitive acquisition of wealth. And this is the driver of our thinking and thought. That is the reason you see people changing over time.
Let's pick up from the UK as well. There's only Liz Truss did. She had to, name her cabinet, and according to just the summary we have, these are also persons that are loyal friends to her, her allies. And just like the summary that we've also read, we also found out that those that worked with Sunak are not part of that cabinet. Could there be a relationship with that particular action to what happens in the Nigerian system, saying that, well, this person is not in my cartel, therefore you shouldn't be in my cabinet to serve political offices in the nation generally?
I said it before. Comparing Nigeria to some of these countries, I think we are doing ourselves a lot of harm. Because the way the people think there is different from the way we do things here. Like here, we say, this is how we do it here. They here have a different method. Imagine we copy so many things from the Western world, but the way we practice is different, including religion. We practice it the other way, upside down, to suit what we think is best for us in our own illicit mentality, right? Now, in UK or the Britain, they have this belief that is similar to that of America. I have a duty to my nation. I don't mean to be in the ruling party for me to contribute my quota to the development of the nation. In Nigeria, for you to even get a role to play, you must be an inner caucus member for you to be recognized. Not just because you are a member of the political ruling party. You must be a member of the inner caucus for you to be recognized. Or somebody must endorse your candidacy before you are given a role to play. These are two different things. And those, in Nigeria, for instance, if you made a kind of political mistake, what I call political mistake, and you bring in somebody from the outside, what that person will do is, the first loyalty will go to the person who recommended him or her, and not to that your dream, not to that your vision, and not to Nigeria as a state. And you will see that that person may turn out to be a saboteur, who will ensure that the script that is given to him or her to sabotage your policies in order for the other people to have something to campaign with, it will be the agenda that he or she will be pursuing.
All right, we'll come back to, we keep talking about this, but let's quickly get to another interesting conversation about this morning, and that's the Minister of Education, Adamu Adamu, has announced the federal government offers for universities in a bid to end ASU strike. Adamu said the government is ready to increase lecturer salaries by 23.5%, while professors will get 35% increment. The minister added that a sum of 150 billion will be provided for in the 2023 budget as fund for the revitalization of federal universities. However, the Minister of Education, Adamu Edmo, says the government only offered that 23.5% salary increase for lecturers, and then according to him, Tuesday, September 6th, which was yesterday, he was speaking to vice chancellors and other stakeholders in the university system. This whole issue of the federal government and ASU and all that is going on, Emmy, when one thinks about it, in fact, on the news this morning, I heard that the ASU rejected 23% increase and said this is not what they are asking for. It's not about just about their salary. There are other things they're asking for. This has been going on and on and on and on. Do you think we'll ever make a headway with this whole? Because the federal President Buhari had to meet with them now. He has to sit in the meeting. A lot of people have suggested he do that. They did that yesterday, and there's a comment that no, this is not what we want. Will there ever be a headway?
I expect a headway. I expected that when you talk about negotiation, I think ASU is not getting something right here.
Okay.
When you use the word negotiation, it means you and I are going to sit down to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Negotiation means I will bring forth those my desires, those my expectations or my needs on the table. Mm-hmm. Then you will bring your own on the table. Then we'll begin to discuss. In the course of discussions, we must reach compromise.
Yeah.
Because I'm not meant to achieve everything I so desire. You are not also meant to achieve everything you so desire. That is why they say discussion, negotiation. I will give you A, B, C, D, but I will leave out D, F based on A, B, C, D reasons. Then you will then say, no, why don't you give me, instead of leaving at the D, give me the D, take away the B for now, for us to achieve certain truths. That is negotiation. But when you go to a table, say, this is all I want. Give me all I want or nothing more or less. It means you are not ready for negotiation. What you are going there to do is you are going there to impose your desire.
Yeah.
That is not negotiation.
More like making a demand.
Making a demand cohesively.
All right, well, let's quickly bring in Vincent here, and then we'll take it further. Vincent, please.
Well, talking about imposition, Mr. Amy, we realize that this is the first time the government is coming out to categorically make a statement on what it has offered ASU. Why did it take this long for the government to, make this kind of statement? Assuming the government made this statement in March, they were offering ASU 23.5% and were providing the 150 billion for revitalization and 50 billion for aid allowance. Don't you think there would have been a headway? Why did it take this long? Almost 7 months.
Like I said earlier, you don't just make an announcement where there is no agreement. You must agree that, yes, I am taking this offer. Then you go to public and say, yes, we have given this, and they have accepted. Not that you are trying to give me an offer. I have not accepted it. Then you go public. Yeah, I am giving this. It means you are trying to blackmail me. So you must be very careful on the table of negotiation. Anything I have not accepted, and you go to public and announce that, it means you are devising a means to incite the people against me because you are trying to blackmail me to accepting that offer. So that is the carefulness that we need to observe. Nigeria, I've always said this. I don't know if I will appear this morning. Let us search our hearts. Let us search ourselves and ask these simple but pertinent questions. What do we really want as a people? 2, what do we want for our nation, Nigeria? As a citizen of this country, do I owe Nigeria anything? We have often quoted the roles and responsibilities of government. Have we sat down any day to ask ourselves, what are my obligations as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? And let's weigh our actions if truly we are conforming these actions to that obligations. Have we done that? I doubt if actually doing that.
Well, talking about the ASU strike, yeah, Nigerians, of course, will have to ask themselves these questions, and the answers definitely will come. We've had the National Association of Nigerian Students come out to say that, well, we've basically given ASU our support from the beginning of this fight. And ASU have also come out to say that, well, if you don't pay us our 6 months arrears, we're not going back to school, we're not going back to the classrooms. And the students are saying, hey, we supported you. And if the 6 months arrears is not the basic reason upon which you won't go back to classroom, then something actually is wrong. So we've had a few persons come out to say, well, who should make the compromise now? Should it be ASU? Should it be the federal government? Who is going to bend the knee? Who is going to say it is okay, let's go back to school? Because it's looking like generally that both ASU and the federal government is no longer giving education the right priority as it should be. What do you make of that?
I know a man. He's a lecturer. The wife owns a school, a private school. I know a staff who works there. I remember some time ago when the staff told me that their boss says because a permission was not granted a certain time because she has something with her health and family issue, we just have to give her a little time to that issue. And because the permission was not fully granted, according to the language she used, that her salary was reduced. Certain money were deducted from the salary. And she asked, should I have allowed this thing happen to my family? If it were to be your family, won't you? He said, no. We can only pay, according to the owner of the school, we can only pay according to the hours you worked with us. These are the same people who are not telling federal government. I was at home for 6 months. Pay me for that 6 months that I didn't do anything. But the same people in their private enterprises are saying we can only pay according to the hours you work.
But this could be different. No. This could be different perspectives. Now they went on strike. It was an industrial strike. Yeah, and then some persons will say they have a good cause for going on that strike.
What about the other one that went to attend to health issues, right? It's not a good cause.
All right, I think we can go on this, but we just keep bringing it to you. Hope that the federal government and ASU can find a way out. But we'll take a short break, return to you on ATN Blowout after this.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today.
ATN blowout. Of course, we're getting back to another issue. But Victor, you know, Nigeria issue don't seem to have an end. There's always one drama or the other. But again, it's a strike, and then of course the looming strike. I wonder what that's going to be.
Well, let's look at it from the first scarcity that is almost about to ravage the entire nation now, as it concerns the north. Now we have Abuja, we have Kaduna, Nasarawa, Kogi, Niger, and some neighboring states. They might encounter another round of scarcity of premium motor spirit, called, rather popularly called the petrol, following the commencement of a 3-day warning strike by the Suleja Depot branch of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. Now, the members of the union commenced the strike on Monday in protest against the continued indebtedness of the federal government to oil marketers with respect to the payment of fuel transportation costs, otherwise called the bridging claims. Now, the Idman Suleja Depot branch chairman Yahaya Ahazan said marketers has stopped the supply of products from the depot as the union had prevented trucks from moving PMS to the northern states. But looking at all of the challenges that we're having in the petroleum industry, Mr. Amy, I tend to always ask this question: should we really be having these issues when it concerns petrol in the country, Nigeria, where we have these as our natural resource?
As you were talking, a word just came to my mind. What is that word? Insanity. And I tried to ask myself, what is the meaning of insanity? And when somebody is insane, what happens to the person? Shame is taken away. Consciousness is taken away. An ability to strive for better things is taken away. In a midway, should I then say Nigeria is insane? That's right. One may be tempted to say so. Why? Because there are things that ordinarily nature blessed you with it. God gives you or gave you the reasoning ability for you to think out certain things and work things for yourselves, things that can better your lots, things that can encourage the citizens to develop towards reaching their potentials. But imagine you having all these things available and you are still suffering for the same thing. What does that mean? Insanity. Good oil is what we have. Right from the days of military regime, we'll be hearing about turnaround maintenance. These refineries were built by military, right? Yeah. The man who built some of this refinery then, when he was a minister, is the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Since he left office then, the refineries were left the way he built them, or the administration, it was part of built them. No expansion, no improvement. But we had billions of naira that were recorded. Where are this money? Nigerians created wins for this money, and this money flew away. Today we are suffering for what? Transportation of PMS product from one location to another. What a shame.
No. Emmy, speaking of what a shame, let's look at the claims being made by the petroleum marketers. They are saying that they are standing 50.5 billion that the federal government is supposed to have paid them for their bridging claim. And the federal government is here to pay that. Until the federal government pays, they are not going to do anything about it. In fact, they are giving a 3 days warning strike. If this also takes us back to issue of subsidy again, if the federal government is owing them, if there are outstanding bills, their bridging claim of 50.5 billion, why don't the federal government settle that and save the issues that could lead to, especially when we talk about this looming strike and the issue of scarcity that will affect the northern part of Nigeria?
By reason, if you ask me, I will say, yeah, we need to pay. If you enter into an agreement or you've given a responsibility, it is expected that as a responsible person, you meet that obligation, the terms of that agreement. That is what is expected of you. But economically, there are factors you need to consider as well. I tell you, the inflation currently has forced so many nations, they are now cutting down the cost of governance, and so many things they'll be into. Funds is what we use to settle these things, right? How much do we really have now? How much are we expecting? I learned that federal government budget of 2023 is looking at that 6 point something trillion, right? In that budget, ASU is demanding, for an example, 1.2 trillion. Other ministries, sectors, agencies also demanding one or two things from the federal government. Federal government is subsidizing the PMS product. Federal government is expected to improve our refineries. Federal government is expected to do many other things, right? Now, if these funds are not available, what do? You must think what is your priority and meet them first on that scale of preference. I am not saying government should not pay, but a nation needs to have a scale of preference in terms of scarcity. Probably the scale of preference didn't say that that should be their priority for now. But why should we even be transporting PMS in this manner from one location to another? I've always advocated that states can form some clusters group. Take for an example, in the South Side here, we have 6 states, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the 6 states of the South, from Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Rivers, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo states, 6. These states can be 2-2. Take for an example, forming 3 groups: Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Rivers, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo. Give us 1 refineries in partnership with the IOCs. We are bringing this amount, you bring this amount. Probably federal government might do enjoying that as well. We build other 3 refineries added to the one we have. Wouldn't that boost our production? Edo has 2 modular refineries are built by the state government partnership. But do we have same in Rivers? No. We can also extend this thing to other states like Imo and Abia State can also give, because they are part of the Niger Delta oil producing states. They can also give us 1, making 4 refineries added to the one we have. Then we have Kaduna, where there is a refinery. Federal government can find a means, including or incorporating the state government, and we have another refinery, or we expand that one. But Nigerians will not do that. The government will not do it. The private sector will not do it, because the IOC will not see reason to even build some private refineries for us. We're only waiting for transportation of PMS, because India will make some money through the back door. Unionism will take advantage of the situation. Every citizen, like I said earlier, you owe certain obligation to your nation, whether you are a union or out of a union. But in the case of Nigeria, our primordial interest, our primary interest always overrides every other interest, including that national interest. We just want to achieve that thing that we think that is best for us and us alone. For me, myself, and for my family, and by extension my group. You then continue to hold the nation hostage. These are not helping the society. Federal government, pay if you don't have, then find a means. You, the transporters, also think about the nation, the scarcity that you are creating today, and ensure that you make your contribution for the betterment of Nigeria rather than creating suffering.
Right. I know there's a lot to say on this matter, of course, as it pains and affects all of Nigeria. But let's quickly go back to Abuja and let's have Vincent also bring in his thoughts as regards to this conversation this morning.
Well, Imi has actually talked. Mr. Imi has talked about the fact that Nigerians have a personal interest. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We have personal interest. But of course, Mr. Imi, you look at the government. There are people who are in charge of these sectors who are supposed to ensure that these people are being paid. And you talked about the fact that yes, we are actually facing tough times, and across in some nations they are cutting the cost of governance. Why is it that in Nigeria the system don't seem to cut cost of governance, but they tend to look at those things that the generality of the people will benefit from and say, well, in our scale of preference, our cost of governance should be the topmost. We won't touch that, but of course, other sectors can suffer. What are we towing that line?
Following your question, I think I will expose something that through my research and follow-up of Nigeria government, I discovered that in Nigeria, this issue of short-term plan, mid-term plan, our long-term plan are actually lacking. Sometimes we lump everything together, thinking that things will just happen by miracles. I listened to your introduction, then you were talking about religious states. We will always play religion, even praying for security to come and taking the budget to private pockets. You see, these are the situations. Now, as a nation, you need to think through. Every policy of government should be the one that is sustainable. And for you to have that level of sustainability, it means you have looked at all paraphernalias. Looking at from the negative and the positive side of before you enter into this agreement or into this course of governance. But we don't do that. We just believe that because certain person are going to gain, or even me that is overseeing that ministry or that role, there are one or two gains for me. I will just append my signature to whatever thing. And at the end, the thing will come haunting us. Nations are cutting down the cost of governance because they have thought through. They have seen that, yes, this policy that we have been pursuing or implementing over the years, the people understood it and it has been bringing some positive results. But because of the economic meltdown that we are facing right now, we are taking A, B, C, D out of it while we implement the other C, D of that same policy. But in the case of Nigeria, because there's no proper thought, proper planning, if you remove the D or the A, you will just destroy the whole plan. The policy will collapse because there was no proper thought through. There was no proper plan. We just engage in it because we want to think that, yes, we are doing one or two things. The Minister of Petroleum or those in charge of that sector ought to know that continually paying certain funds to transport PMS from one location to another, we have a negative economic effect on the Nigerian economy. As you enter into that, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to look for a means that you will set up other criteria, other things that will cut out that policy that you enter into without proper thought initially, by creating refineries and the rest of them to cut that level of transportation. But nothing like that was done. We will wait until the thing come hurting us. That is what we begin to look for negotiation. Appeal, I beg you now, withdraw certain things now, so that you see the economy now, this kind of a thing. These are the issues here. We must have a people who think, those in government and those outside government. If you are giving advisory role, think through. The essence of you occupying that office is for you to bring ideas, for you to bring solutions to problems, identify problems and bring solutions. Think them through.
Talking about solutions, just a final thought on this matter before we move on to the next conversation. Now, the federal government is looking at removing subsidy in 2023. The removal of subsidy is going to be a solution to the PMS issues that we have in the country, Nigeria.
They have told you that they are spending a lot of money subsidizing this product, right? But they have not told you why they are paying money for recess allowance, why they are paying newspaper allowance. They have not told you why they are buying cars for themselves. They have not told the economic implication why they are budgeting money for entertainment. But they have told you that subsidizing this product has a negative economic effect on the Nigerian economy. I agree with them. But should we also stop subsidizing for government? Should we also stop paying certain recess allowances, all manner of allowances, to cut down the cost of governance in order for us to have a robust economy? What are you doing for the people? Yes, subsidies shouldn't be part of our governance. I agree. Because we are spending a lot of money in subsidizing this product. But aside that, what do you have on ground? Yes, there is a lot of work going on in the refineries right now. You are also hoping on Dangote refinery. This Nigerian mentality where we try to take advantage of monopoly, and at the end we begin to make profit at the expense of the Nigerian people. That will also count. You removing the subsidy for now. No for Emiferaga. No. That is what I will say. Until you giving us functional refineries.
Okay. Thank you, Emmy. Let's move on to the next conversation now, because 2023 is just by the corner, and of course the elections are, the elections will be piling up very soon. Very soon, campaigns as well will begin. But again, INEC has come to say that they would not disenfranchise the IDP camps in the 2020 election. And the Independent National Electoral Commission on Tuesday said that the estimated 3 million internally displaced persons would participate in the 2023 general elections. And the commission added that measures to ensure all eligible Nigerians, including the IDPs, exercise their franchise at the next stage schools have been put in place. According to the chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, he stated this in Abuja at the stakeholders validation meeting on the 2002 revised framework and regulations for voting by IDPs. And Yakubu also explained that the revised framework had taken into consideration several developments since the last review and validation exercise in 2018. Now, the inclusion of IDPs before the elections in 2023. Now, INEC has come to say that they will not disenfranchise those IDPs. What do you make of that particular statement by INEC?
First, I will commend INEC for the little improvement we are seeing and their effort towards ensuring that we have an improved electoral system.
He calls it later.
Yeah, I commend them. I commend them. It's really a good thing. Let us continue on this drive. But however, I think there are things that should make news. There are things for Emi Feraga that shouldn't make news. You are given a responsibility statutorily. Your function is to ensure that all eligible Nigerians exercise their franchise. And the constitutional criteria is when you are 18 plus, you are eligible to vote and be voted for, right? Then you, as INEC, you had a budget. This fund had been given to you. According to you, you attest to this, that the funds have been given to you. Some persons are now IDP, not because they wanted to be IDPs, because the Nigeria state had made them IDPs. But does that incident or situation excludes them from being Nigerians? Does that situation also excludes them from the Nigeria territory? The answer is no. They are in Nigeria. What we have is just relocation. They were in one location at a time. Now they're in another location for security reasons, isn't it? What stops you from moving the police unit from where these persons ought to be, or creating an additional police unit that these people will cast their franchise? Is that the big thing that you should make news to paint it as if you are doing an innovation? You are doing something that others have not done before, something that is not expected of you. So you are using your idea to ensure that you are bringing forth this innovation. Not now. It's just taking the police unit from one point to another. So why will you not allow them to vote?
All right, Emmy, this conversation has become really critical. Here is INEC saying that the policy is to ensure that no eligible Nigeria is left out of the electoral process, basically on account of displacements, disability, or other circumstances that may limit citizens' participation in the electoral process. Now, this is very curious. It is curious because just about weeks ago, INEC said they're done with the voter registration process, and they gave their reasons and appeal for Nigerians to understand with them. Now, if it is paramount for you not to disenfranchise any Nigeria, now there are millions of Nigeria who already started with the registration process, but they couldn't complete it because of INEC's timetable. So, juxtaposing that with the issue he raised yesterday, Professor Mahmoud raised, not making sure that no Nigerian is disenfranchised. What exactly do we make out of all of this?
You want me to be honest with you?
Yes, please.
Very honest.
Yes.
I will tell you that I support INEC.
Okay.
The issue of those who started the registration process but couldn't complete it, I am not for them.
How is it their fault?
I will tell you. Nigerians, we should learn to obey rules. We should learn to avail ourselves when it is necessary.
Those who were turning 18, who are coming into the eligible age for voting, what provision? So yeah, they were making plans, but were they not supposed to rather consider that these people were going to turn 18 at this point, and they're also supposed to be, they're supposed to participate in the elections? Because you were talking about how they already have their plans. Are they not supposed to include this in their plan?
The thing now is this: the election is 2023. After 2023, we also have other elections.
Why
there are those who will turn 18.
Yes.
There are those who will turn 18 before the electionary year. Those persons are expected to participate. So the timetable of INEC has been there. So it's expected of you as a patriotic citizen to avail yourself within that frame of time that INEC gave.
Before you turn 18?
No, at the time you turn 18. That is what I mean. If you turn 18 after the exercise has ended, it means you are to vote in the next elections. Because definitely there are people who are going to turn 18 by February.
So how do you
next year?
how
So
do you
does it also mean that you must include those persons?
Okay, how do you juxtapose that with the position of INEC chairman saying that the policy is to ensure that nobody is disenfranchised?
Nobody means the eligible persons, those who are eligible to vote.
If I'm
they are
18,
allowed to vote,
Amy,
eligible at a time.
Amy, if I'm 18 right now, by Nigerian law, am I eligible to vote?
You are 18, right?
Yes.
By Nigerian law.
Yes.
But you didn't register.
I have
You
registered.
didn't
I
meet
have
the
registered.
constitutional criteria.
I know I'm 18. I've registered. I followed the process, but I could not complete it because there were lots of people. INEC didn't have enough facilities for us to complete the registration process, and their time they didn't meet up.
You couldn't complete it because you didn't avail yourself. At the time, INEC said, come for registration.
Is that correct?
Yes, I saw so many centers at the time where INEC were calling for people, come and register. Come and some people say, will they give me money? These are things I saw. Will they give me money? So why will I register? But at the late hour you came that you want to register, aside the timetable of INEC. No, now, if INEC conducted a fraud election today, you will blame INEC. You will say, no, why did you give us a transparent election? All the money and all that. So they must work according to their timetable.
Vincent, let's hear you also bring in your contributions to these matters, of course.
Well, before I bring in my question, let me remind Mr. Imi that, of course, the online registration of INEC had about 10,000 people who registered in that 10 million.
Yeah.
But, of course, only 3 million were able to be captured on that platform. And that is the case. When you try to look at the performance of the online process, you realize that it wasn't really up to 50%, but of course there's room for improvement. But coming back to talk about allowing Nigerians to exercise their franchise, the reality in the country shows that most IDPs or even Nigerians, because of the realities of time, don't seem to, be stationed in one place. There are IDPs who are in camp today. That same camp is raided and they have to move to another location. And you see, it becomes very difficult for these people to, register during the election. In such cases, don't you think INEC should begin to look forward to making the registration very flexible, such that if I move from here to Port Harcourt, for instance, I can use my card to register, to cast my vote in Port Harcourt? Don't you think the INEC should be looking towards that direction, so that people don't, be restricted in one place to say, if I register here, I must vote here?
My people will always say that you count one before you will count two. You understand? A policy of government entails so many other policies and so many other actions. This is what Nigerians need to know. If a government, for instance, says they want to build a road in a place, government will first of all ensure that a policy is rolled out to take care of people's properties they are going to destroy, and a kind of a reward given to those persons. That is another policy. But the essence of the initial policy is to tie the road, walk a road, or construct a road for certain persons. Now, for us to have that level, to attain that level of electioneering, it means, first, we must look at the Nigerian character, number one, and restructure that character to suit those demands that we are making of INEC today. If I am allowed to cast my vote in wherever location I find myself, maybe just like your ATM card and the rest of them, are you going to behave as that Nigerian, a patriotic Nigerian, who will ensure that you support the system to work in achieving the expected goal? Or you are going to be that Nigerian who will make sure that the system is altered just because you want to sabotage the system or you want to achieve certain nefarious interests? That is one. Two, do we have that level of electricity that will ensure that all the gadgets that you need to cast that your vote in whatever location you find yourself are there? So you see, it is not just INEC making available the possibility of Nigerians to cast their vote wherever situation they find themselves. It means government must first of all provide that electricity that will ensure that these gadgets has the power to perform the function they were designed to perform.
Just like you actually use the ATM card as an example. So the card basically is a mobile card.
Yeah.
So you move out with your card and then you get to the end of the ATM stand and then you make your withdrawal for instance. The voter's card also is a mobile card. So
Yeah.
you could go to the next polling unit and say, okay, yeah, this is where I am at this particular point in time. So all you need to do is also to slot in your voter's card to the BVAS machine that has been created. Isn't that so?
Why do you then have a voters register to know the number of eligible voters in a place?
That's why we have the data. So you can
You have the data now. If you make it a mobile stuff, I register on this polling unit, right? Then I want to cast my vote. I travel to Lagos or to Abuja to cast my vote. In certain distance, it is expected that my vote ought to come from the unit where I register, because that is where my register is. But my vote will not be included in the vote of Abuja. That means I will need to work out another means to sort it out first. You see, this is not like private business. Even without your ATM card, you go to where you have either POS or you have ATM before you can slot it in.
That's right.
And use it. So you must also have this gadget in certain designated areas before you can use it. And this gadget must be functional.
All right, let's quickly look at the last issue we have for this morning, and that's the Commandant General of NSCDC, Ahmed Abubakar Aldi, yesterday announced the dissolution of anti-vandal units nationwide and timely reorganization of the units and an end to oil theft. In a statement signed by the Command's Director of Public Relations, Olushola Odumoshu, revealed that the Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, approved the measure to reposition the cause for better service delivery. In view of the recent developments in some states and the unsatisfactory performance of the unit in the past few months, there is need to sanitize and bring fresh zeal to the operations of the unit. The Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, has approved the dissolution of the units nationwide and the dismantling of all unapproved roadblocks mounted by NSCDC personnel across the country with immediate effect. The minister has also directed the immediate reconstitution of the anti-vandal units nationwide, and he said that they are going to do that without delay. The Commandant General explained that the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense will not condone unethical practices, misconduct, or misbehavior. I would strongly warned. The federal government supports the cause demonstrates the seriousness government attached to the addressing the issue of oil thefts, and the court is going to live up to expectation without compromising standards, the Commandant General assured. Okay, Emi, I'm coming to you quickly. This is one critical area that a lot of Nigerians are holding their breath. Will there ever be an end to this? Will there ever be a transparent? Security agencies from the NSCDC to the Nigerian naval officers have been accused of, being involved in oil bunkering and what have you. And of course, talking about dismantling anti-vandal units also, recently we saw the NSCDC going at their officers who have been treating Nigerians unfairly, from our very own Yinka Ayefele, the musician. There was abuse and other issues. We've seen the Nigerian security agencies coming at their officers. What do you think this foretells for the Nigerian security agencies and, of course, Nigerians at large?
Nigeria is an orphan looking for parents. An orphan in the sense that most Nigerians only think on what they can get from the Nigeria state, how they can exploit the state, and not how they can help in making sure the state work. In political science, there's what they call the organism argument. If a state work by that reasons, you have a role to play for the organism to be alive. So every segment, what I'm trying to say here is, every segment of the organism have a role to play to sustain the organism. If a segment of that organism fails to play that role as expected, it will affect the organism. Security in Nigeria, even with this dismantling and all that, I'm so disappointed. I'm not happy. In fact, I will rejoice because say we are dismantling our checkpoint and I will clap for you now.
Yeah, but they said they are reorganizing immediately.
I am so disappointed. Service. What I expected to hear is that, yes, they have restructured the NSCDC. They have taken them back to their core mandate, taking them off our roads, NSCDC were created for them to protect our pipelines. But they so saw what police are getting on the road, the tight cards that police are marking on daily basis. NSCDC decided to join that fray, and they left the protection of pipelines and they came to the road, checking driver's license, checking vehicle particulars, as if that was their core mandate, because they felt from there is their market. You can make some money from it. So if you are disbanding this one, you still have them multi-checkpoint, leaving the core rule that they were created. So Amy should be happy with you. Should clap.
Very recently, the federal government had to also step in and talking about the core mandate of NSCDC. Now talk about the pipeline surveillance.
Yes.
The government had to step in and then give a contract to a certain individual who is not a security personnel to now be in charge of the pipeline surveillance in the southern region of the country, Nigeria. Now, would you say that this is entirely the fault of NSCDC, that the federal government did not take, let's empower NSCDC to take care of that, if you're saying that is the core mandate of the NSCDC?
You see, our people say when you fetch ant-infected firewood, don't quarry the festival of lizard in your home. NSCDC, when they were created, they were supposed to perform this mandate. But I tell you, even the previous administration, under Jonathan, gave the same contract of pipeline surveillance to the same individual. Why? Because these persons left that road. They left the road to the road. Although I'm not supporting that. But because there is a lacuna now, there is a hole. So what do? We need to augment that. We need to make sure that we're able to protect or safeguard these pipelines. And they gave the call to order, and these people are compromising continuously. I remember Jonathan administration, they queried the activities of the NSCDC. What happened? We still have them doing the same thing over and over again. Now their commander have told you that we are dismantling their checkpoints and all that. You will still see them. How many times have they announced this to us?
But you see, you just narrowed down the role of the NSCDC to just pipeline protection. There are other roles they have when it comes to community security, as for instance, if you look at their mandate, it's not just pipeline protection. So if they are seen on the road, take for instance the Niger Delta, where we have major issues of oil theft, for instance. If they are seen on the road and they're checking vehicles that, for instance, will fire, we know that these things are packed in taxis and all of that. Why is that not part of protection of their job? Is that not part of their job?
No, I think we need to correct something here. NSCDC are not given the functions of police to safeguard our communities.
There are similarities. Maybe you
their
need to check that out.
Their function is to ensure that our pipelines are safeguarded. These pipelines are found in the communities. They are located in the communities. So you're supposed to ensure that these pipelines are not vandalized. That is why federal government is paying you to make sure that you keep an eye on these pipelines. Before this fire will hit the road, where are they coming from? Is it not from the pipelines? So if you have done your job at the community level, where you're supposed to protect these pipelines at the location, will there be fire hitting the road?
All right, we'll get the call marshal to come in here to talk about this more. But let's quickly get to you now, Vincent.
Well, Vivian, this issue is very interesting. You are dismantling the anti-vandal unit and reconstituting the anti-vandal units. And the same officers you're going to be using.
The same people.
Interesting. So how do we expect the change? Are we going to see any difference? Because it's the same officers that will be reconstituted to still serve as anti-vandal officers. I mean, do you expect any change?
My brother, I'm with you. Because you are just telling the people, change. I am taking you from point A to point B now. And the same person, you've told the same thing over and over again. I continue to do the same thing. I don't think there will be any change. The same people, the same. Initiate a kind of discipline. If you step outside the core mandate where you were created, you should be punished for that. That is what I expected. Not dismantling a certain checkpoint and the same people. No, now, Nigerians are better than that. We can do better than that.
Okay, Emmy, I know you're not finding this dismantling lean and reorganization funny. But can we just look at NSCDC, for instance, the Nigerian police? There's been some improvements in the way they're handling their officers. There has been recalcitrant, as a matter of fact, in recent time. I did mention the case of Yinka Ayefele, for instance, and you could see that the Commandant General was all upfront for it. And of course, recently also, they also launched the new set of boats to also ensure that they manage oil theft properly. And now they are dismantling to reorganize to provide better service. Why don't you see something good in all of that?
If I don't see anything good in them, I think I will be very unfair to them. There are areas they are trying, because if you take the police out of the system today, you take the military. When I say the military, I'm talking about the Air Force, the soldiers, and the Navy. You take them out of the system today, I don't think you and I will be here. In fact, we'll be looking for one enclave where we'll hide ourselves from the bad boys and the rest of that. They are doing that for us. We appreciate them. But that doesn't mean that as a security personnel, entrusted, you know, our lives, our well-being are entrusted in the hands of these persons. The people for that are coming and other are supposed to be there. Our lives are entrusted in their hands. You left this mandate, this trust that Nigeria has in you. You left it and you saw that thing, that action as a market where you will make some illicit words. Are you fair to the Nigeria state? Are you fair to the Nigeria people? This is the issue we are talking about. Why don't you think about their lives that your compromise is destroying today? Why don't you think about the property that your compromise is destroying today in the Nigerian society? Why don't you think about the economy that your compromise is sabotaging today? These are the issues. You are doing well the other side, but what about this one? This one is killing us, creating head hazard for Nigerians, which is not supposed to be so. So we query this one not because we hate them, because we are calling on them to return back to their mandate so that we can applaud them more, we can celebrate them more. This is the thing. Police discipline their people. It's okay. We welcome it. Are they supposed to be recalcitrant in the first place? Because you yourself are giving them the leverage to so behave in the name of return to Ogas. You make certain returns. Every of the junior officers have a tight card. They are marking in your office. That tight card doesn't go just by ink and this. No, something follows. There is always an envelope. You created that avenue for them to behave like that. So don't tell me because you are trying to restructure your heart yourself and I should be applauded. No, I can't applaud you.
All right, thank you very much, Ebife Haga, for blowing out with us today on 8C, and thank you very much for being here this morning.
You're welcome.
Well, that's been a show with our guests, but let me quickly get to you now. Vincent, what's been your pick point for the show this morning?
Well, for me, the ASU and federal government issue has been my pick point. I want to actually commend the government for coming out to state their position. I think we would need to hear from ASU and then know how the issue would unfold. I think they have actually constituted a committee of pro-chancellors and vice-chancellor to see how they can cement the whole issue. I just hope that in no distant time, they'll be able to resolve this issue so that students can resume back to their classroom as soon as possible.
All right, Victor, what has it been for you today?
Well, my fingers are crossed basically on the first scarcity that we're expecting now to ravage the country, because if it happens in the north, it's definitely going to come down to the south and then infiltrate the whole nation, Nigeria. So it's important that the federal government has got to swing into action swiftly to ensure that this doesn't go out of hand.
All right, for me, I'll go back to the first issue we looked at this morning, and there's an issue of Elizabeth Mary Truss, who is now the UK's Prime Minister at 47. That is a woman like the average one out there today. How was she able to get to where she is? So they could say she was part of the royals, but is that really what it is? We are all given opportunities, but what are we doing with these opportunities? 2023 is coming up. As women in Nigeria, what are your roles? How are you preparing yourself? Is it just for you, is it just about tying to wrapper and making yourself available to complete the numbers? Are you looking at for strategic ways to position yourself for leadership? everyone have got to make their contributions. And another lesson I think we should also glean from the new UK Prime Minister, the third female, as a matter of fact, after Margaret Thatcher, we had Theresa May, and now Elizabeth Mary Truss. However, the issue here is the preparedness that in just few hours she's been able to gather herself to make announcements of those who will be working with her. As politicians, who are your network? Who are those around you? Well, whatever it is, we're learning, and we hope that everyone gets to come on board as we build a better nation. It's been a beautiful show. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Vincent. But we're done with the live shows like we always say, but it's time for us to continue this conversation on our social media page. On Twitter, we are at Atlantic TV Net. On Facebook and YouTube, sorry, we are at Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram, we're Atlantic TV Network. Remember that peace and unity are the pathway to progress. Enjoy the rest of the show.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.